Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and I'm back here with another episode for you. As we're getting ready to wrap up our 100 shows in 30 days. All right, we got a couple more guests we're going to put out here for you guys, and this one here is someone I've actually known a while. I just have never been able to have a one-on-one conversation with her and bring her on screen and talk about the awesome things that she does. All right, and we have a lot of friends in common and a lot of people that we know in common. We just have never done anything together. And that's just all it is. So today I'm excited to bring Jackie Lapin on the show today. All right. She's got some great things for if you're a speaker. All right. And literally, I'm going to ask her questions and let her explain it to you guys, because this is just so cool that you're going to need to know about it. So let's bring her on screen here. Hey, Jackie, how you doing?
Hey, Tim, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Wait a minute, we've known each other probably about 8 years, and this is the first time really that we've ever got on camera together.
I think it's great. I mean, everybody is doing more video right now, so hey, the time is perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, how many shows have you been on since we've started this quarantine?
Oh God, dozens and dozens, but more than just that, I've also been in breakout rooms. I think I have breakout room fatigue, meeting so many people, but it's great. I love it.
And I mean, in your business, first of all, I mean, I want you to tell everybody just a little bit about your business so they get an idea of the concept.
So what I do is I help people get booked. Mm-hmm. If you have a mission, a message, a resource that helps people improve either their lives, their business, or the planet, then I help you get out there either in the media or on radio shows, podcasts, virtual summits, or stages that are waiting for guests who can make a difference in people's lives. That's the mission of my world. Mm-hmm. And we do that in 2 or 3 different ways. One, we do radio podcast tours that reach 9,000 radio shows and podcasts for authors and leaders. Mm-hmm. And that's done for you. But the other side of my company is the do-it-yourself side of the company. Oh, and that's under the Speakertunity brand. And under Speakertunity, there's lots of leaders that don't have the money to go out and hire a PR agency, hire a speaker agency. They can't find people who will book for them. So you really have to take on the responsibility of booking yourself. So we're trying to make it really easy for people by giving them the leads where they can book themselves. So we do that with 3 subscription services, one for speaker leads, one for radio and podcasts, and one for virtual summits that are looking for guest presenters. Mm-hmm. And then we realize that people really wanted a lot of speaking gigs right in their own hometown.
Yeah, true.
So we created something called Speakertunity Cities,
which are
regional speaker lead directories. Uh-huh. So where they can get anywhere from 800 to 1,500 leads right in their market. And we just make it easy. We give you the name, the phone number, and the email, and you go get yourself booked.
So basically, after this, you're going to be telling everybody about Tim Gillette Show and, Blog and VideoCon, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And it's funny because, the fact that I, have a show and I'm looking for guests, I found you through David, or I found that you found that I was doing this through David Fagan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I had David on the show, and David's been one of my key bookers. All right. Through this, another lady, Kathy Mason. Do you know Kathy?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay. Kathy's other person's got me a lot of people, too. It's like, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure after this, you're going to help me probably fill my next season after this. So this is cool. I mean, it's a great concept. All right. But you say this is a subscription-based model. What made you think of doing this in a subscription type thing as opposed to being an agency?
Well, frankly, trying to book people, the radio and podcast we've got nailed. That's one thing. But trying to book people for speaking gigs is a very challenging process. Mm-hmm. And we tried to do it, frankly, for a little while. But people have certain expectations, and they want it right now. But unfortunately, speaking gigs take some time to develop. Mm-hmm. And people aren't happy with the fact that it's not done today.
Yeah.
So we just decided, we don't want to get into. I would never want to disappoint people. That's not that is my mission in life, to never disappoint people. So
how's that working out for you? I'm just curious.
Well, it's pretty good. I mean, if you want to look at our radio podcast tours, you can see 60 amazing reviews. And same on Speakertunity. So we try hard very much to do that. Now, obviously, we can't be perfect. But the whole point of this is, I don't want to be in a position to not be of great service to people. And I know that we can give people great resources and information, and they can go develop those relationships. They can nurture and work with those potential bookers. That's really, there's an art to that, and nobody can sell you better than yourself.
That is very true. I will agree with you on that one.
And so, we, rather than try to be the intermediary, we'll give you the ability to do that. You and your team can go really present you in the best way possible.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting that, so many people that are, are looking for the, hey, do all the work for me. But those people who are doing the ones, they're actually out there trying to figure out how to do it on their own, usually become more successful. And I'll bet in your memberships that you probably love them more because they're not the people who, speaking of which, Isabella's texting me right now. They're probably the ones that you love most because they're like, just give me the resources. Let me go to work. I'll do this. I'll do the heavy lifting. Am I right in that?
Yeah, absolutely. But we also don't want to throw people to the wolves, so to speak. So with Speakertunity Cities, if you come into our program and you send me an email and a reminder, because I don't always give this, and it's usually a special bonus, we have a booking system. We're gonna give you some guidance. Excuse me. We're going to give you a video, checklist, sample speaker one sheet, sample pitch letters, sample scripts, your tracking document, your checklist after you get booked. All of that stuff is available to you so that we want to make you be successful. A lot of people are saying, well, okay, now I've got this, but what do I do with it? How do I, what do I do to contact these people? Well, we'll give you some guidance on that. And one of the things is, you talked about the fact that people want it done for them. Well, here's the dilemma today. If you're not already a speaker that demands $25,000 per engagement, no speakers bureau is going to take you on.
Yeah, very true.
And so the people who used to book speakers to a large extent have disappeared. They can't make a living in the business. So what options do you have if you need to get in front of audiences to grow your business? But do it yourself, or have a VA do it.
Go ahead and get a drink of water there. Jackie, I was thinking about this. Well, you and I know a lot of bigger speakers and stuff. Yeah, in the circles we travel in. But I want to say the most unique person that I've ever met that was a speaker was this girl. I met her on an airplane. She sat in the seat next to me, and that was my second pen I dropped. She sat on the seat next to me in the plane, and she was a speaker to high schools. All right. And I think we're friends on Facebook. I can't remember her name right now. I'm gonna have to go look it up again. But this girl, she was talking about drugs to high school students to get them to not be on drugs. And basically, she lost her legs due to drugs, and she wears two what do they call them? Prosthetics. All right. And you wouldn't know that she didn't have her legs unless she told you.
Wow. She's
learned to walk, right? This girl, it's got to be 7 years ago that I was on a plane with her. And she books her own, she's booking herself $1,200 or $1,500 a gig. She booked herself. And I said, have you ever considered a bureau? And she goes, no. She goes, I don't do that many gigs. I go do what I want to do. All right. I book it. I control it. I'm not dealing with someone who's got to explain my situation. I'll bet that's the perfect client for you in this thing, right?
Exactly. And, you could be motivational. You can be selling a product.
Mhm.
You're just an entrepreneur. Or you could be selling, offering a personal growth program. You can offering a wellness solution. There are so many different ways that you could take advantage of being in front of local audiences.
Mhm.
And we provide meetings, venues, and associations, which are the kinds of grassroots evergreen things that happen month after month after month, because they have to fill those rooms.
Mhm.
They have to put people in them, and they want to offer something of value.
Yeah, yeah.
People overlook that. They, oh, I want to be at the big conference. I want to talk to 5,000 people. Well, one, you have to have the credentials to get on those stages.
Yeah, yeah.
And two, you have to have the kind of unique platform that they would want to have on those stages.
Mhm.
People overlook that local speaking, you can make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, and I personally like to influence my local community. Like my events, I've been doing events for 8 years, and like 2 years ago, I realized that 90% of my attendees in my event were coming in from out of town. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to start helping my local community. Most people, like, they want to be, they want to be the big person, but like me, I was like, wait a minute. I'm in my own backyard. I'm not helping people. What the hell? I mean, I grew up in the church where, like, the people around the church should be the first people you help. Anyway.
Well, and the other thing too is, if you're going to fill an event,
Mhm.
the obvious way to do that is to go out and speak locally at other people's events. That's going to drive people into your event,
Yeah.
because they don't have to buy an airplane ticket to come and see you.
Yeah.
They're more likely, the barriers are lower, so they're more likely to say yes.
Yeah. Now the hotels loved me for that because I filled rooms, but anyway, the whole nother story there in the speaking world. But Jackie, it's interesting that what you do here and how you help people. To me, there's always a story. There's a reason people got into doing what they're doing. I want to dive into the story. How did you get into doing this? What drove you to go, okay, this is a need I got to go fill?
Well, let's go back, way back.
Okay.
I started out as one of the first women sports writers in America. At 20, I was at the Detroit Free Press. At 21, I was at the Associated Press and on the front pages of the LA Times. And 22, I was at the Washington Post. I went on to have one of the largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America. So PR is in my DNA. And it's something that I really, my writing skills, which is what makes our radio podcast tour so strong, is that's my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And after 20 years of running that agency with a world-class client list, the media had changed dramatically, and you just can't get the kind of publicity that you did in those old days, because it's contracted and it's pay to play and it's all kinds of other things. It's social media as opposed to print, magazines, television. So in the course of that, I wrote 2 books on personal growth and decided that, this really is meaningful to me. And by the time I wrote the second book, which was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show, I said, my heart is calling me to serve the people of the world that are making the world a better place. And so I rebranded the company as Conscious Media Relations and focused on that for 10 years. And we did these radio podcast tours and book campaigns for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we still continue to do them. But my clients came to me and they said, can you book me for speaking engagements? Can you book me for speaking engagements? Now, I'm a believer that the universe leaves breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you follow those breadcrumbs, something good will happen. And so the breadcrumbs were saying people want to get on speaking engagements. And so, like I told you, we tried it for a little while doing it ourselves, but said, this isn't for us. What if we can just give people all the contacts where they can book themselves? Mm-hmm. I had huge databases of different kinds of organizations. Why not just put it in a format that people could consume themselves? And that's how Speakertunity was originally born. And we started with the Speaker Leads product, which gives people leads all over North America. It's really geared to the transformational leader and somebody who's more in that space. And then, of course, since we already had the radio and podcasts, since I was pitching them, I could raid that list to give people radio shows and podcasts. And then virtual summits with an obvious, because nobody was telling them where they could find them. And so that evolved. But then people said to us, and Speakertunity, Speaker Leads is great, but I'm not going to stick around because I'm only getting 2 or 3 in my own market. I love what everything else is giving us, but I want stuff in my own market. And some people wanted more business driven, not transformational driven. So in my head, I'm going, okay, how can I give them more of what they want? And so that's when Speakertunity Cities was born, to basically enable people to really saturate their market in the 4 categories that people generally speak: business, the service groups, the consumer, and the spiritual. So we figured that if we give people, and can we find people cross over all of the time? Some people are just business speakers, but some, they want to talk to the women's group. They want to talk to the women's business group. They want to talk to moms. They want to talk to the women's service groups, and they have a spiritual message. They can crisscross all into the same. Okay. So by putting it all together, it made more sense to really focus locally. And so we have. I mean, we'll have 30 markets by the fall when we launch.
Wow. And wow. 30 markets, but I mean, are you doing all the work behind this, or do you have a team right now running most of this stuff?
No, and I should specify, we have 21 markets right now.
Okay.
But we will have 30 when we do our big national launch in the fall.
Okay.
And come out of this COVID-19 situation. No, I have a wonderful team of 6 in the Philippines.
Okay.
Led by a team leader who is like a daughter to me. And we have created a blueprint. First of all, we track 850 organizations that are national, that have local chapters, to see what's in that market. We've broken it. The business section, for example, is broken down into 40 industries, ethnicities, and gender. It's categorized so you can find exactly what you want. So they know that if they're going for entrepreneurs, these are the kinds of meetings they're looking for. If they're looking for accountants or real estate people or whatever, they are looking for specific things. So it's a blueprint that they're following. And then as we go, we add new organizations to the blueprint. And then, of course, we search locally what's organic in that market, not just attached to a national organization. So the team, basically, I don't have to be telling them day to day what to do. They're really following a direction, and it takes them about 6 weeks to do one directory, and then we're on to the next.
Now, when you started this, did you picture it would be growing to where it's at right now, or you were just at the time going, let me solve a problem?
I had a vision and a hope that we would be able to do this. And we're a tiny bit behind where I wanted from a time frame, but we're still going to get there to where I want. I wanted to be at 30 markets by mid this year, but we hadn't really. One of the ways that we are marketing our resources, besides of our website directly, is through joint venture partners. And what we haven't done was reach out to our joint venture partners, people who are speaker leaders, speaker trainers, and people who are teaching people how to grow their businesses, and invite them to invite their communities. So we're a little bit behind where we wanted to be in sales, but not in product development. So I'm excited about that. So, we'll be 6 months behind where we wanted to be from the standpoint of getting it out to the world. But we're excited. People are still coming in. And if we don't have their market, they can always request at the bottom of the page at speakertunitycities.com. They'll what market they want. And so when that market is ready, we will be able to go out to them and say, okay, here you go.
And of course, I'm going to ask. I'm in Dallas, Texas. You in Dallas yet?
We sure are. I just finished that directory this week. And we have Austin too.
Oh, Austin. Yeah, that's Austin, Houston, Dallas are the 3 biggest in Texas right now.
Houston will be coming.
Yeah.
That's and when we have all 3, we will bundle them. And when we bundle them,
it's like a Texas package. That's cool. Yeah.
We bundled Southern California, we bundled the Bay Area, we bundled Florida, and essentially when you subscribe to a bundle, then you get one of the directories free.
Now,
So
I did learn over the weekend. I don't know if you know him. Tracy Allen Haynes. Did you know Tracy in Houston, Texas?
no.
Tracy was a great, to me, a great leadership speaker. And I learned over the weekend, we lost him over the weekend. And I don't know still know the story, but I found out through another friend, I think that you and I know in California, John Limbacher. Do you know John?
Yeah.
Yeah. John posted on his Facebook. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy. All right. And it's like weird. Anyway, totally sidetracked. Well, Jackie, I mean, you've got a story of how this got here. All right. And right now, a lot of us who are speakers over the last 6 weeks have had gig after gig after gig cancel. And literally, I've had stuff cancel all the way through till July right now. What are you encouraging the people now? I mean, you have lists to deal with these virtual, and how are you working with people to go, hey, transition?
Well, we don't have virtual lists because this is more of a temporary situation, and we're basically working on a long-term permanent situation. But some may actually go to virtual permanently. Yeah. So we suggest that you would just reach out to the people that you would be normally reaching out to and say, do you have a virtual option? And I'm still willing to speak. Let me know if that is a possibility. So that's one thing that you can be doing. The other thing is, this is a great time to be developing the materials that you're going to need as you come out. So if you're an early stage speaker, this is a really good time to start doing your speaker one sheet. Or if you're doing radio and podcast, this is a good time to be doing your media kit. Start or build your website, your speaker website page. This is a great time to build the infrastructure so that when we come out of this, you're going to be in a really, really good spot.
Yeah. And literally, I mean, I love that encouragement of the things you should do now. Of course, I'm in content creation, so I'm telling them what content to create right now. But like, the speaker one sheets, all right, the speaker sites and things like that are very much something you should be getting up and going right now. But in the virtual world, all right, do you think those people who are going to move stuff to be virtual, do you think it's going to be kind of put into a class like podcasts? I mean, your opinion?
No, I think that the virtual mostly is going to continue as a live vehicle for people to really connect with each other and to offer information. I think a few people may actually be taping their segments and using them on YouTube channels and other kinds of things that will be evergreen. But majority of people, if you're going to offer a class, you're going to offer a class, and you may be holding it by Zoom or some virtual platform. But I think those things that are speaking engagements are going to stay speaking engagements, but you're going to charge less to have people come in. You're either going to offer it free and then offer something at the end that will lead to a paid program, or you're going to have a low cost on it. I was on a program this weekend that was $47, but there were also 300 of us, and it was a joint venture opportunity. So everybody was getting to meet each other. So there was value in the online space, even though we couldn't participate in a physical. You can walk up and hug somebody and hand them your card, but you were in a Zoom room with 8 other people introducing yourself and your product. So people are finding interesting ways, either from a standing, talking head lecture situation or an interactive situation, that are keeping these things alive.
And even us. I mean, we've had to. We can't have ours this weekend. Ours is a hotel situation. The hotel can't host us, so like we had to go online and figure it out. And I'm figuring it out. I'm just being honest. But I watched my coach and mentor do his this past weekend using Zoom, and we're going to use this tool that we use here, StreamYard. But with that being said, in some of these virtuals, are you plugging people into like, okay, this is the platforms you're going to need to learn to be able to do this? Are you doing anything like that education wise, or you just plug them into people who teach them?
Yeah, we're just basically plugging them into,
Mhm,
those
mhm.
kinds of situations. Yeah.
Yeah, because so many people don't. What I mean, I figured out how to use StreamYard very easily, but I mean, Zoom. I use Zoom, but like I'm not an expert on Zoom. But my coach got it and figured it out to the point he was teaching it in three weeks. I
Wow.
I can't, but I could do this. But that's a tool that like I'm not in front of the audience. I don't see the audience reaction, things like that. So it becomes a downer for me. And I was wondering how many of your speakers they're going, well, Jackie, how do I do this when I'm by myself?
I think most of them are watching other people do it and
Mhm,
learning from this. Most of them are just getting on other people's virtual experiences and
mhm,
getting a sense, okay, well, if I'm going to do my own, how am I going to do it? And there's lots of people teaching this information
mhm,
right now. I mean, obviously, a lot of people who used to teach other kinds of things are pivoting to teach people how they can teach online and
mhm,
make
mhm.
money online. So there's lots of great folks out there that are offering that information. So
Yeah, and it's cool when we transition like this. I don't like the word pivot myself, but anyway, I get that's what everybody's saying right now, and I don't like the word new normal. It's like those like they creep me out. I'm like anyway, um, but you know what I mean. It's a different world, and we have to learn to you know what I mean to adapt and find ways to work if we're going to keep going. Is your company all right? Always looking at well, what if, and giving the what if. I mean to make changes.
I think we are. I mean, what we're always looking at is where is the market going, and are we in a position to be able to fill that void?
Mm.
That's really the thing, and that's why Speakertunity Cities arose.
Mhm, mhm,
But for example, one of the things we did was when this hit, we realized that a lot of people might not be willing to invest in a speaker directory when there are no meetings going on
yeah, yeah.
right now. So we pivoted. There's that word again. And we
My
shifted,
favorite word.
shifted over to really focusing on the radio podcast tours
Yeah.
because this is a perfect time to be doing that because more people are sitting at home consuming radio and podcasts
Mhm.
because they have nothing else to do. And because you can stay safe at home
Yeah,
and
yeah.
still talk to millions of people and
Mhm,
not have to worry about the safety of yourself and your family. So we focused on where we felt the market was going to be needing to go at this particular time, and it's been very successful. We've
mhm,
got 7 radio media tours lined up in 3 weeks that are one after another going out.
mhm,
And we believe that that will be continuing to fill the pipeline through much of the end of the year.
mhm.
So we'll focus on where we think the need is at the time, and then when the market really reopens for speaking, we'll focus back on that at the same time.
Well, in that idea, all right, where you're doing that, but encouraging people to hey, just because the market's shifting doesn't mean you can't adapt and do both,
Right.
right? Yeah, you know what I mean. So now you want to go into it with the idea of not only am I trying to get you on stages, but if I get you on podcasts and I get you on virtual stuff, you know what I mean. I could probably get you on more stages.
Yes, exactly. You have more visibility. There's no question about that.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, and I'm doing the same thing that I've just recommended people to do. Behind the scenes, those radio podcast tours are going on, but behind the scenes, I'm building a massive YouTube channel for Speakertunity Cities.
Oh, okay.
And so if you, it's actually under just the Speakertunity brand. So if you just go to Speakertunity and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I mean, if you go to YouTube and subscribe to my Speakertunity channel, you're going to get a ton of value about speaking
Mhm,
and what you need to know about getting booked and how are you going to maximize those bookings and how are you going to get somebody to say yes to you and what do
mhm,
you all have to make your booking a success. All of those things are going to be there so that when we come out again in the fall, we're going to start releasing those one at a time. So that's going to draw people in, and it'll be a cross pollination. People
mhm.
will find us there because they're looking for more information. And people at Speaker Cities, I'm going to send them back over here to improve their ability to get booked.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's designed to basically give people all of the tools that they need. So we are spending time working on the infrastructure so that we can help people be more successful.
Okay. You said something, Jackie, that I actually want to go back and it's a thing that I always love. First of all, you are a speaker yourself, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you're practicing these things by using these tools to book yourself, correct?
You bet.
So in other words, you practice what you preach.
You got it. Exactly.
Isn't it funny how we become our own best customer?
You got it. Well, and I also don't feel, I want to be one of those leaders that walks their talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And frankly, I wasn't as much of a speaker a couple of years ago than I am now. Mm-hmm. But because it's really important for me to be in this genre, to be understanding what the speakers go through, to get a sense of what people are biting on, I need to be out there doing it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had to ask that because it reminds me of how many times I've seen, and I think we both know, James Malinchak, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So I heard James tell the story about people in his life that he's found who's like trying to teach him how to get booked. And James is like, well, I'm booking myself so many times a year. How much are you booking you? And they're like, oh no, we just teach you how to book. We don't book ourselves.
Yeah.
And James is like, what do I need you for? Yep. I still would love to get James on my show and talk about that. But so often we find people in our industries who are not doing what they actually are trying to teach anymore. And I'm always inspired when I meet people like you who are going, no, by the way, I have to go figure this out for myself. So I'm using this very same tool to do it myself. So
you got it.
Yeah. So, well, I try to, I'm going through all my notes and all my cross-offs, maybe make sure I crossed everything off that I wanted to ask you. Because this is my ideas, by the way, I actually, and I'm actually going to teach this on a thing next week. I'm speaking at the guy's virtual event. And he's like, well, teach everybody about how you're getting guests and how you hold a conversation. I'm like writing stuff down. And then after we talk about it, or you cover it. Okay. I crossed that off. This is not hard, people.
You're right. It's just being curious. That's really what it is.
It is. All right. And I've always found, Jackie, that in these interviews, I find out some of the most interesting things about people and usually bring up subjects that that help them to go, oh, yeah, yeah. And we do that. And then they explain it. And it's like, have you ever explained that on a podcast before? No. Thank you for asking it that way. I'm not great. I'm just like, to tell you the truth, I got to do this because I'm dumb.
Not by any chance.
Okay. I'm not saying I'm dumb, but you get the idea that you're like, okay, I don't know. So let me write it down and figure it out and ask. Yeah. Anyway, in your industry, how often have you gotten it down like, well, I don't know. Let me go get the answer for you that. All right. And you go find it because of the fact that you're in that and you're like, well, I want to make people happy. So let me go find out what I got to do to make them happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm never going to fake an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to really be able to give you a substantial answer on something. And if I can't, I will tell you, I'll direct you to somebody else. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people that believes that we live in a cooperative world rather than a competitive world. Yeah, and I would so much rather introduce people together to be of service rather than not being able to be of service at all.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, you've given us a lot of information today on such a short period of time, Jackie. What is a way that people can connect with you and find out more about this opportunity?
Well, they can reach out to me at Jackie@speakertunity.com. Mm-hmm. And you can go to speakertunitycities.com. You can see all of what we offer. There's a great FAQ on that page, too, that'll kind of answer a lot of your questions. And you can see all the markets we have now. And if we don't have your market, you can go to the bottom and tell me what market you want. So that is all there. If you're interested in looking at the entire array of Speakertunity, you can go to speakertunity.com. Mm-hmm. So this is direct to our regional speaker directories right here, speakertunitycities.com. But anything in the Speakertunity genre, we also have a TEDx directory. So
really?
Yeah. And we did it in such a way that we have both a by date and by state or province, Canada included, so that you can see which, and of course this may change with COVID, but for the moment we're all the way booked out, all the way through the early part of next year. You can see all of the TEDx's in your region. So not just in your state, But if you want them seeing in 2 or 3 neighboring states, so you can, propose yourself to all of them, you can see it easily rather than having to thumb through that massive TEDx website.
Well, first of all, that's great that you're doing things like that. One of the things like with TEDx, just it got me thinking. One of the things I'm trying to do, because my new brand is called Simple Easy Marketing, and we're trying to create this simple, easy talk.
Very cool.
Because we want to be able to get people to get their points across fast. All right, and anything. But when I get that developed, I'll work with you to get people to book their speaking slots with me. Right?
You got it.
So, anyway, so we get that website. All right, we got to make sure you guys go check that out. All right, and Jackie, I thank you for coming on today's show and sharing this information with me. I'm sure I'm going to have you back because you've got more, right?
Yes, of course. And thank you. I would love to come back, Tim. You're fun. You're a great interviewer.
Cool. Well, and I'm sure if I wait a minute, and the fact that you're looking to help people and book them, I figured if I interviewed you really good, you might recommend my show to people to get.
I think we can do that.
I think I had an end goal in mind. I don't know. But I also do host several events and speaking. That's why too. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's a connection because here in Dallas, I host 12 events a year in Dallas, local events. And then I host 2 major events a year.
My goodness.
And now I'm doing 12 virtual events a year, apparently, because now that's changed. Anyway, so Jackie, one of the things I like to do with my guests when they come on is I like to close out with a little game. Have you heard about my game?
I'm just intimidated by what you're going to do to me, my dear.
It's painless, really, I promise.
Okay.
Jackie, it's a game I call This or That. I watched Sammy Hagar do it on TV, and I thought, man, I'm cooler than Sammy Hagar, right? In case you don't know who Sammy Hagar, he was the other singer in Van Halen, people.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just about 9 questions, 2 choices. I'm going to throw them at you. You pick one. And I realize some of them we may elaborate on, but we can do it within the closing time here. We'll see what we can do. And some of them are going to be like, yeah, whatever, and move on. And some of them are going to be pretty intense. But let's start off with my favorite one I like to ask because I want to find out who my sci-fi people are, and that is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
It is May the 5th, and yesterday was May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day. But anyway. My next one is kind of intriguing, and I've learned this myself in the car recently, is if you're in the car, would you rather listen to a podcast or music?
Music.
Music?
Actually, audiobooks.
Well, yeah, audiobooks is actually, I'm concerned that too, because that's really kind of podcast idea. And I just downloaded Audible, and I'm listening to Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek.
I've listened to 70 books on Audible in my car.
Cool. So my next one's a little personal. I kind of asked the ladies, and that is, would you rather dress up or be hanging around in yoga pants?
Yoga pants.
Yeah, I love this being at home because I only have to dress up from here up. Just saying, yeah. Now I switched a little bit on food, all right, and go, which would you rather have, a taco or a hamburger?
Ooh, that's a toss-up. If it's Taco Bell, a taco.
How about beer or wine?
Neither.
You don't drink?
Liqueurs.
Okay.
Amaretto.
Okay. I drink. Oh, it's not there right now. I took it downstairs. I drink moonshine. So anyway. If you're going to the movies, would you rather get the popcorn or the candy?
Oh man, you are making these so hard. Junior Mints.
Junior Mints, and she even knows what candy it is. Okay, if you're going on vacation, will it be the beach or the mountains?
Mountains. No question.
Ah, cool. My next one here can create wars, and I'm understanding people are just now being able to go to the store and get more of it, and that is the toilet paper. Does it go over on the roll or under?
Over.
Jackie, that is the funniest question I ask in this, and that has gotten more things as asking that question.
Oh, it's hysterical.
And my last one, Jackie, is a personal preference. I just got to know, is it boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
See, not that hard. It's just a game, right?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Jackie, I really do thank you for coming on today's broadcast. Would you do me a favor? Repeat your website one more time for those even on the audio so they can hear it and get a hold of you.
SpeakerTunityCities.com.
Okay. And guys, listeners, please go check out Jackie and SpeakerTunityCities.com. Check out the membership levels that she has and see where she can help you and see what town she can help you with. I do appreciate you coming on, Jackie, and to you, the guest. I appreciate you guys for listening in. Do me a favor, all right, and go subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Go subscribe we're also on Anchor FM and on YouTube. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, bringing you another guest, Jackie Lapin here. Enjoy your day, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye now.